Stop chasing. Stop begging for attention. If you've been told that being nice or vulnerable wins a woman's desire, you've been lied to. You're losing because you're following the weak rules of modern dating. I'll show you the cold, hard strategy the most powerful men in history understood. This isn't romance advice. It's psychology and influence. The rules written by Niccolo Machiavelli, the man who understood that people only value what they can't easily have. His words weren't about love, yet they describe it better than anyone ever could. He spoke of rulers and control, but his sharpest lessons reveal how people chase what feels rare. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 5 hidden rules, each designed to flip power from her hands to yours. You'll see why being slightly unavailable sparks desire, and why the courage to hold your ground commands respect. If you're ready to see what truly shapes attraction, and to make her not just want you, but crave your presence, stay right here. Because this is where everything changes. Machiavelli understood a simple truth that still rules human behavior. People are drawn to what they can't easily have. The rarer something feels, the more it's valued. The more available it becomes, the faster its worth fades. That's the psychology of scarcity. A principle that controls not just markets, but emotions, attraction, and power itself. Look around. The things people chase most are the ones that seem just out of reach. Air is essential to survival, yet no one fights for it because it's everywhere. Gold, though useless for survival, is worshipped precisely because it's hard to find. In the same way, a man who is constantly available becomes invisible, like air. The one who controls his presence becomes desired, like gold. Most men make the fatal mistake of giving too much, too soon. They text back instantly, share every thought, cancel plans to please her, and think that constant attention equals love. It doesn't. It equals predictability. And predictability kills excitement faster than anything else. When she knows exactly when you'll text, what you'll say, how you'll react, the mystery dies. And when mystery dies, attraction fades. The man who understands human nature never floods the world with his energy. He practices the strategy of the scarce resource. He knows that value is not created by presence alone. It's created by contrast. He doesn't vanish or play childish games. He simply has a mission. His life is full. Goals, discipline, purpose. He moves with direction, not desperation. His attention must be earned because it comes from a man who respects his time. When such a man gives his presence, it carries weight. His focus is sharp. He listens, observes, and connects deeply. He doesn't check his phone every minute or try to impress her with words. His calm confidence speaks louder than anything he could say. But when he leaves, his absence is felt. It's not emptiness. It's anticipation. She starts to notice the silence. She begins to wonder what he's doing, who he's becoming, what it would take to be closer to him. That curiosity is the seed of desire. This balance between presence and distance is the rhythm that creates emotional gravity. Too much distance turns cold, too much presence turns dull. But when you master rhythm, you create pull. Your time becomes rare, your words meaningful, your energy magnetic. Like sunlight breaking through clouds, your attention feels warm and unforgettable because it's not constant. The strategy of the scarce resource is not manipulation, it's self-mastery. It means knowing that your life's mission comes first, that you are not built to orbit anyone else's world. You move with purpose, and that purpose makes your presence valuable. The man who guards his energy shows that he understands value. He doesn't need to say he's rare. His lifestyle proves it. And because of that, his presence begins to carry meaning. When he walks into a room, people feel it. When he speaks, people listen. When he gives attention, it feels like a privilege, not a right. That's the paradox of power. By giving less, you create more impact. By becoming scarce, you become desired. That is the timeless law Machiavelli understood, and the first rule in mastering human attraction. The man who becomes gold never has to chase. He is pursued. Machiavelli understood something most men still fail to grasp. Unchecked mercy breeds contempt. Kindness, when endless and unguarded, turns into weakness. The world may preach forgiveness without limits, but human nature doesn't respect it. People test boundaries. They push, not out of malice, but instinct, to see how far they can go before being stopped. And if no resistance appears, they lose respect. This is where calculated cruelty becomes a necessary virtue. Calculated cruelty isn't born from anger, bitterness, or hate. It comes from clarity, the clear understanding that compassion without control invites exploitation. A ruler who forgives every betrayal teaches his court that treachery has no cost. A man who tolerates every form of disrespect silently tells the world he values peace more than self-respect. But peace at the expense of dignity is not peace. It's submission. Cruelty, when calculated, is not brutality. It's balance. It's the ability to act with firmness where softness would lead to chaos. It's saying no when everything in you wants to be liked. It's walking away when your emotions beg you to stay. It's cutting ties cleanly when something poisons your focus or drains your strength. A single decisive act of firmness can prevent years of slow erosion. That's the paradox Machiavelli saw, that mercy, when endless, destroys order, while measured cruelty preserves it. In relationships, this truth is hidden behind false modern ideals. You're told to always be understanding, endlessly forgiving, eternally patient. But what's celebrated as kindness often becomes self-betrayal. The world doesn't reward the man who tolerates everything. It rewards the man who knows when to stop. True balance lies in kindness that carries the threat of consequence. When your compassion has boundaries, it earns respect. A Machiavellian man doesn't rage, threaten, or chase revenge. His cruelty is calm. It's expressed through decisions, not words. He doesn't repeat himself or justify his choices. He observes, decides, and acts, all without emotion. When he cuts someone off, he doesn't do it to hurt them, but to protect his peace. His silence, his absence, his refusal to engage, that is his cruelty. Quiet, clean, final. And paradoxically, that quiet cruelty commands more respect than any speech could. People begin to realize that your care has limits, that your forgiveness is not endless, your patience not unconditional. They start to value what once seemed guaranteed. The fear of losing your presence, your approval, your energy, that's what breeds respect. And respect is the foundation of desire, loyalty, and influence. Calculated cruelty is not about inflicting pain. It's about protecting structure, your time, your mind, your dignity. It's doing what's necessary before chaos begins. It's the hard truth that saying enough once, with conviction, prevents 1,000 future apologies. It's cutting off manipulation before it grows. It's refusing to negotiate your worth. The strongest men are not those who are endlessly gentle or permanently cold. They are those who know when to shift between the two. They can give warmth that feels safe, and distance that feels absolute. Their balance creates authority, their discipline creates peace, and their restraint, the refusal to react emotionally, makes them untouchable. So remember, mercy without measure invites exploitation, but cruelty, when guided by wisdom and purpose, restores order. It's not about domination, it's about discipline. It's not about hurting others. It's about never letting others destroy your balance. That is the virtue of calculated cruelty, the strength to be fair, the courage to be firm, and the wisdom to protect what makes you powerful. Machiavelli understood a truth that governs both power and love. Emotion is the enemy of clear thinking. When a man is ruled by feeling, his strength dissolves into reaction. He becomes predictable, unstable, and easily controlled. To lead with clarity, whether in politics, battle, or relationships, a man must learn the art of emotional distance. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means mastering control, feeling fully, yet never being consumed by what you feel. Emotional distance is the ability to step back in the heat of the moment and see things as they truly are. When anger flares, it makes you impulsive. When desire rises, it makes you overgive. When fear creeps in, it makes you hesitate. Every emotion has a purpose, but when it dominates your decisions, it becomes a weapon against you. A man without emotional distance reacts instead of responds. He acts out of need, not strategy. And that's the moment he loses power. Machiavelli taught that rulers who let emotions steer their actions invite chaos. The same principle applies in personal life. The man who can stay calm when others lose composure becomes the one everyone looks to for direction. He doesn't let praise inflate him or criticism crush him. His identity is not dependent on approval. His mind remains steady while others are ruled by impulse. That steadiness is what makes him powerful and magnetic. In relationships, emotional distance is the difference between influence and dependence. When a man is emotionally enslaved to a woman's attention, he becomes reactive. Her silence unsettles him. Her affection defines his worth. Her withdrawal sends him chasing. He trades his focus and dignity for validation. But when he learns emotional distance, the dynamic changes completely. Her silence no longer disturbs his inner peace. Her interest becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. He doesn't stop caring. He simply refuses to let emotion dictate his behavior. This control creates mystery. It turns presence into power. A man who isn't easily shaken becomes a center of gravity. Calm, steady, grounded. People sense it immediately. His silence carries meaning. His eye contact, his composure, his restraint, they all signal strength. The less he reacts, the more she feels compelled to understand him. Because people are drawn to what they cannot easily influence. That's the paradox of emotional distance. By feeling less needy, you become more desired. Emotional distance doesn't mean numbness. It means emotional intelligence. You still feel joy, anger, love, and fear, but you decide when and how they appear. You lead your emotions instead of following them. You take a pause before reacting. You think before speaking. You choose peace over panic. This is what separates the disciplined man from the impulsive one. And in that discipline lies presence. When you no longer seek control over others, but over yourself, your aura changes. You become the calm center in the storm, the one who moves slowly, speaks deliberately, and acts with intention. That's why the most powerful men are never loud. Their restraint speaks louder than their voice. So remember, emotions are meant to inform you, not imprison you. They are powerful servants but dangerous masters. The moment you lose your emotional distance, you lose your direction. Keep your heart open, but your mind in command. Because the man who masters his emotions commands his world. That is the power of emotional distance. To feel deeply, yet remain unshaken. To love without losing yourself. To stand in chaos, but never let chaos enter you. Machiavelli understood that power is not a constant flood. It is a rhythm, a controlled alternation between appearing and withdrawing. A ruler who is always present dilutes his authority. One who vanishes indefinitely loses relevance. True influence emerges from mastering this rhythm, the subtle art of absence and presence. Humans are drawn to what is uncertain, unpredictable, and rare. Predictability erodes attention. Scarcity strengthens it. Presence must feel like sunlight, warm, illuminating, life-giving, yet never constant. Too much exposure dulls perception. Too little erases memory. Think of a great king holding court. He appears rarely, but when he does, every word, every gesture carries weight. The courtiers hang on his presence because it is scarce. His absence builds anticipation. Desire grows in the gaps. That is the rhythm Machiavelli admired. In relationships, this law is just as vital. Most men believe constant availability builds connection. They are wrong. Desire grows from contrast. Moments of closeness become precious because they are balanced by moments apart. Absence sparks curiosity. Presence delivers fulfillment. Together, they generate tension. And tension drives desire. When a man pulls back thoughtfully, he creates space for longing. She begins to think about him, to miss his energy, to anticipate his return. When he reappears, that anticipation turns into gravity. His presence now carries weight. It matters. It is no longer ordinary. It has been earned. The Machiavellian man doesn't disappear out of fear or insecurity. He withdraws with purpose. His absence is never chaotic or desperate. It is a tool to maintain value. His return is intentional, deliberate, impactful. This mastery of timing communicates authority without a word. It signals that his attention is finite and therefore precious. When others understand that your engagement must be earned, they value it more deeply. They respect the moments they receive. They anticipate your return. And that cycle creates influence, attraction, and power. This law goes beyond romance. It shapes leadership, power, and respect in every sphere. Too much exposure breeds familiarity. Familiarity dulls authority. Those who are constantly available invite complacency, but those who balance visibility and absence craft a gravitational pull that others cannot ignore. Absence is not emptiness. It is energy gathering in reserve. Presence is not noise. It is precision applied at the right moment. Mastering absence and presence requires discipline and self-awareness. It is not manipulation. It is self-mastery. It demands that a man have a life independent of others' approval. A life full of goals, projects, and growth. When presence and absence are measured, your impact multiplies. Your words resonate. Your actions matter. Your attention becomes a reward, not a given. The law of absence and presence is ultimately about control over perception and desire. Influence is born from tension. Attention is cultivated through timing. The rhythm you create, alternating engagement with withdrawal, shapes how people feel, how they anticipate, and how they respect your space. Like the tide, move enough to touch, enough to retreat. Let absence speak in silence. Let presence leave a mark. That is how power is felt, remembered, and desired. Master this law, and your presence becomes gravity. Your absence becomes longing. You are no longer ordinary. You are essential. You are no longer just seen. You are unforgettable. Desire is a force, a potent source of power. But like all forces, it can either build or destroy, depending on how it's managed. Uncontrolled desire weakens a man. It makes him chase, it makes him need, and it makes him forget his worth. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. A man who cannot rule his impulses will soon be ruled by them. Leadership, over others, over relationships, over life itself, begins with self-mastery. At the core of self-mastery lies discipline, the ability to want without being consumed by what you want. Every man experiences desire. Every man feels its pull. But few know how to carry it with dignity. Most give in too quickly. They speak too soon. They act too hastily. They reveal too much of themselves before the proper moment. And when they do, they surrender the quiet power that makes a man magnetic. Desire, when disciplined, transforms into presence. Presence is calm, confident, mysterious. It is a force that draws people in without effort. A man who rushes after what he wants only exposes need. A man who can hold back, however, creates anticipation. He becomes magnetic precisely because he is steady, because he contains the energy of his desire instead of being consumed by it. Think of fire. When it burns uncontrolled, it consumes everything in its path. When it is contained, it provides light, warmth, and guidance. Desire is no different. Uncontrolled, it burns a man down. Controlled, it illuminates him. It draws others naturally, almost irresistibly. The energy that comes from restraint is felt instinctively. It radiates from posture, tone, and action. In relationships, the discipline of controlled desire is seen in the smallest acts. You don't rush to respond to texts. You don't beg for attention. You don't lay bare every thought or feeling the moment it arises. You allow silence to speak, letting space create tension. This is not manipulation. It is self-possession. It is the difference between neediness and power. Your emotions remain balanced. Your presence becomes steady. Your energy communicates strength rather than desperation. A woman senses this immediately. She can tell the difference between a man who desires her and a man who needs her. She respects the one whose attention comes from strength, not from compulsion. That balance, that calm, controlled energy, keeps desire alive. It allows curiosity to grow. Curiosity is the spark of fascination. It is the seed of obsession. Machiavelli would call this the highest form of discipline, mastering your hunger before it masters you. To feel the pull of desire, yet keep your mind in command. To want deeply without losing yourself. To act from power, not impulse. The man who masters this principle controls more than just his own feelings. He controls the rhythm of influence, attraction, and respect. Passion is not weakness. Desire is not the enemy. But unchecked, it can destroy. True strength is not the absence of desire, but the ability to contain it, direct it, and use it wisely. Controlled desire creates presence. Controlled desire creates gravity. Controlled desire turns attraction into enduring fascination. The discipline of controlled desire is simple in concept, but rare in execution. It is the ability to feel everything, yet remain unshaken. To experience the pull of want without surrendering your center. To hold power not by force, but by restraint. It is a man's quiet, unspoken advantage. The secret that separates those who are followed, loved, and remembered from those who are consumed by their own impulses. Now the question is, will you reject these uncomfortable truths and stay where you are? Or are you courageous enough to master this new strategy? If you are ready to stop chasing and start commanding, this is your moment. Like this video right now to signal your commitment to power. Subscribe and join the assembly of men who choose strategy over weakness. And in the comments below, tell me which of these 5 rules is the one you must start applying immediately to change your dating life. Your strategy starts now.